The Blue Jackets don't play on Thursday, unfortunately, but the Washington Capitals do. So that's where I'm going again. This line is very similar to what we saw with the Blue Jackets and Capitals on Tuesday night. This one is the Blackhawks. They're plus 205 in DC. The Caps minus 245. The over under 6.5. If the Capitals were healthy and maybe hadn't made a bunch of moves to deplete their roster, I think this line makes a ton of sense. Maybe it should be even a little bit higher, but that's not the case. This Capitals team is going to be without John Carlson, most likely still, without Nick Jensen, likely still. They're just banged up all over the place. They traded away a bunch of their players at the deadline, so the depth's not there. The goaltending's not been good. Darcy Kemper day to day still. Who knows if he's back? But you can't tell me. I shouldn't say that. You can definitely tell me you don't want to bet the Blackhawks here because nobody wants to bet the Blackhawks here. But you can't tell me that they're not the value side in what is a matchup that really jumped out at me.
Yeah, I still think Washington is being overvalued here. We'll see who they get. I think if they get Kemper back, that makes a big difference. You framed up that Columbus game pretty pro Caps because, yes, they led a lot. But outside of the first, it was really ugly first from Columbus. They took a bit to settle in. But once they did, they were generating a ton of chances. Like I was already prepared to come on here and be like, well, I think it was actually kind of the right take, even though it missed. Like I think odds considered that, Columbus generated a lot. They led on high danger chances. And I thought that it started to show as the game wore on how easily that some of those guys were getting elite looks. So yeah, I think the Caps right now are going to be overvalued a lot. I've been fading them a lot the last 2 weeks. A ton of the positives that were going on with this team aren't right now. The Trevor Van Riemsdyk injury hurts. We'll see if he comes back. That's the thing. They could have Jensen, TVR, both back. That helps the defense core a lot. I also actually rate Columbus above Chicago at this point, which is pretty surprising to many. But I think if they played a 7-game series tomorrow, I'd actually like Columbus quite a bit in that. So those are kind of my thoughts there, but I still think it's a really solid take, and the Caps are going to continue to be overvalued. And like that game was pretty big for Washington. It was OV night. They were still probably in their heads thinking they're a little in the playoff race if they went on some crazy tear. So maybe you see a bit of a letdown spot here where it's just, the season's over. Everyone knows it now.
And
So
I think it's not only a letdown spot, but if you're Peter Laviolette, let's say Jensen, TVR, Kemper, they're kind of like, yeah, they could play tonight, but a couple more days off would help. Well, they play the Penguins on Saturday, and they'll have a chance to possibly, depending on how Pittsburgh's game against Colorado on Wednesday and then their game Thursday against the Stars go, like end the season of their biggest rival too, right? So that
yeah, that'll be
Penguins,
the Caps Cup at
right,
that point.
exactly. So like you could see them be, oh, we'll give them a breather here against the Blackhawks and hopefully that national TV game on Saturdays is when they do come back. I think that's
Yeah.
when they're targeting Carlson back as well.
And to talk like Laviolette, that's another problem that I think is going on with their team right now is he's at the end of his run, I think everyone knows. And it seems like there's maybe some stuff coming to a head with just everything going around the room, which has typically been a really, really good environment. Everything to do with this organization and players that have been there say really, really positive things about how everything is run. It seems like maybe right now that that's not exactly the case, where there is some real negative energy and stuff going on. So we'll see. Yeah, I mean, I can't see myself backing the Caps much for the rest of the year, at least not until they're starting to be priced as like a true non-playoff team, which is really what they are at this point.
Yeah, back in 2004, the Islanders surprised everybody by firing Peter Laviolette for falling out with Michael Pekka, who then was traded very quickly after that. So wouldn't be the first time that Laviolette, who's credit to him, been around the league for a while now, seems to have a shelf life. We could talk about your favorite underdog now, a guy who's near and dear to our heart. Didn't come through for us on Tuesday night in our anytime goal scorer round robin. Maybe we'll throw one together here too, and we'll start with him. But we did hit Simon Holmstrom. He was plus 550, And then Mangiapane was, I think I saw him at 240, 265, something like that. So 2 out of the 5 at decent prices. So maybe we're percolating on this. So why not stay with it? But we'll let you start with your underdog pick, uh, our man.
Jacob Vrana. So I've been spraying on this nightly, and I'm happy with that because it's been working out well. And it seems like the days that I've either put it in an article or on the pod are the ones that he hasn't scored. But I think if you want to go back to over 2.5 shots and anytime goal, they're both going to be really good plays. He looked inspired versus Detroit. I think he was really up for that game. He had 5 shots on goal, 1 attempt. He was creating a lot. He got slightly more minutes. I think he was at 16 and a half, but if anything, he should be. I think maybe Berube's a little scared to lower the minutes of some of these vets, but I think he deserves more than that. If anything, he should get at least that, which is great for this prop and the rate that he continues to score at. So I think Verana's looking lethal lately. I'm still happy to go back to this. If he gets a chance, he's going to put it in. So give me Verana. And the other thing, like Detroit, that game was probably a little more open than the score said, I thought. And so it's not like this is a bad matchup beyond just the fact that he's going to want to continue playing well with Detroit. It just seems like he's picking up his confidence. His game's getting into a good place. So I like it. Give me Verana to score.